Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey. Getty Images talk about getting caught with your pants down. Exposés on predatory perv. Harvey Weinstein had unleashed a tide of lurid allegations against some of the most powerful men in showbiz and politics, from Kevin Spacey and Charlie Rose to Franken and John Conyers. So what do the highest-profile men's magazines have to say on the subject? Not so much, it turns out. GQ likes to style itself as a beacon of liberal moral authority, so we had guessed that the December-January issue would suit up for a takedown of the famous predators among us. Instead, editor-in-chief Jim Nelson churns out yet another of his pearl-clutching columns about President Trump. Completely ignoring seamy allegations that have engulfed Democrats and Republicans alike, Nelson takes his Chicken Little routine with Trump to a new level. Every morning, I run to my phone to see if the Republic is still standing, Nelson sweatily confides, to see if Trump has summoned the nukes from North Korea out of their locust sleep. Esquire editor-in-chief Jay Fielden at least manages not to miss the fact that American males are caught in the middle of an historic reckoning over UAL misconduct. Nevertheless, he elects to dwell not on Weinstein, but on Hugh Hefner. Suffice it to say, a gentleman who reads Esquire might question the propriety of kicking a man in his grave, or even call it cowardly. But after admitting he poured and ogled Playboy centerfolds like a golem when he was 13, Fielden insists that he promptly grew up, and has ever since been woke to the tribulations of friends, colleagues, girlfriends, wives, sisters, daughters and mothers, who have suffered at the hands of adolescent narcissists like Hefner. It's imperative that open secrets don't become another excuse for closing our eyes, Fielden writes in a workmanlike conclusion, finally getting around to the subject of Weinstein. But after reading so many lines about Hefner, as well as deplorable satires like Wilt Chamberlain and Charlie Sheen, who boasted about bedding women by the thousands, you get the impression Fielden is only lately waking up to the finer points of the issue. Elsewhere, both magazines have pieces on John McCain, painting the U.S. Senator in a decidedly independent light. Nevertheless, both also seem to plead, look at us, we write about conservatives, too. GQ calls Colin Kaepernick Citizen of the Year, in an article that's heavily sympathetic, unaccountably so, some might argue, to the former NFL quarterback who has been all but blackballed from the league after jump-starting the kneeling controversy. We're guessing one or both of these magazines will eventually get around to in-depth, 3,000-word features on predation in Hollywood and politics. But their current mumbling and stumbling just doesn't look smart. NFL fumble and riding for $212 million. New York does the impossible this week by piling on the NFL in ways that make you sorry for the league. Claiming improbably that the NFL was the most unifying public institution we had, it goes on to compare its crisis to the fall of Rome. Author Will Leach goes on to cite new concussion protocols and targeting penalties for helmet-to-helmet hits. They've made the game less fun too, and they're probably not keeping anyone safer, he writes. The truth is whole networks and TV shows envy the NFL's comparatively modest 5.9% ratings decline. And, come February 4, Super Bowl 52 will quash Leach's contention the future of sports belongs not to the NFL but to the NBA. Leave it to the effete New Yorker to pass on the gridiron grit for the sport of kings, with a surprisingly ground-level piece by writer John C. Bruconard and Jose Ortiz, two Puerto Rican brothers, who have been electrifying New York's racetrack in recent years. The 8-page article covers the racing scene from Bug Boys to riding goggles. The Ortizes are only 24 and 25, but between them have already earned $212 million in purses. Seabrook spends plenty of time on racing itself. The difference between turf and dirt tracks makes the read worthwhile, but his sweep extends to hot walkers, exercise riders and the jockey agents who match riders with horses. What's even more surprising is the agents must not only pick horses but also play diplomat with every upgrade of a client's mount.